So I've also posted this worksheet, and it says Station 1 on the top of it. This is something I provided a while back. There's an order to administer 3.375 milligrams of Zosyn. It's mixed in 100 mils of normal saline. According to Micromedics, I can deliver this over 30 minutes. What will I set my pump for? In other words, how many mils per hour should the pump be delivering this medication? Now, when I set a pump, it's always in mils per hour, right? So I provide this up in the front. I put a question mark and I say how many mils per hour equals. And then I look at it and I say, well, the information I've got says I've got 100 mils going over 30 minutes. Oh, I just need to switch it over to per hour. So I need to convert this. So using dimensional analysis here, I take 100 mils over 30 minutes. And then I can put 60 mils over an hour equals the answer. Well, I know that it's right because if I go to it and I look at it, I know that I can cross out both of the minutes for the 60 minutes and the 30 minutes. And I get what I want for my question. My question was how many mils per hour? And so the question was how many mils per hour, and my answer is in mils per hour, so I know I have it right, 200 mils per hour. I look at it and I say, does that make sense? And it does. The next question is I'm going to be delivering a gram of vancomycin in 250 mils. What do I set my pump for? Now your sheet, the original sheet will tell you to look at Micromedics. I've made it easier for you by saying it's going to be delivered over 60 minutes. You would look it up to see what is safe to deliver it at. You can provide 250 mils in 60 minutes, but 60 minutes equals an hour, and therefore I get 250 mils an hour. Again, I would set it up by writing down, okay, how many mils per hour? That's what the question is asking. When I set my pump, I usually set it in mils per hour. How many drips per minute will that be if my drip factor is 10 drips per mil? If that's the case, I've got 250 mils per hour, and I would say, how many drips per minute? When I set this up, I would want to say, how many drips per minute? So how many drips per minute? You're doing great on Roblox, buddy. Equals 250 mils divided by an hour. 10 drips over the mils. And then what am I doing here, right? So I've got 250. Let me hit the done here. 250 mils per hour. That's a rate that I have. This is also a rate. So it's all a conversion, and it's only a conversion. That's all it is. So I need to get rid of the hours. So I've got 1 hour equals 60 minutes here. And I need to get rid of mils and get to drips. So I know that 10 drips equals 1 mil. And if I look at it, it's 41.67 drops per mil, or per minute, sorry. But I know I can't really count 41.67, so I'm going to go to 42 drops. And that's rounding. This next one, I have 250 mils that I would like to infuse over 30 minutes. What do I set my pump for? So again, my question is mils per hour, and I know I have a rate of 250 mils in 30 minutes. I need to convert that to mils per hour. So I go, thank you, 60 minutes over 1 hour, and then I do the math. The next question is one that will help you so that you can organize your time a little bit better. Having a very busy shift. I'm at the beginning of the shift. I noticed that my patient has a bag with about a half a liter in it. It's running at 125 mils per hour. How soon do I anticipate changing this bag? I did not indicate if you were looking at minutes or hours. Truly, I would be looking at hours, because I'd say, how many hours do I need to be back in there to change it? So I'm going to say how many hours. So I'm going to ask the question, how many hours? Okay, how many hours equals 500 mils? Well, I need to get there. So I need to get it in hours. I need to convert that. I know that 125 mils are running over an hour, but I have 500 mils. So I got 500 mils. I need to convert that over to hours. 500 divided by 125 is 4 hours. I have an IV running at 75 mils per hour. How many minutes will it take for 1,000 milliliters to infuse? So I ask how many minutes. That's the question that they're asking on here. How many minutes? Now usually I'd want to know it in hours, but because it's a dose calc test, I want to make it just a little bit more confusing, right? So how many minutes? I know that I have 1,000 mils to infuse. So I've got that on top. And I know that 75 mils goes in over an hour. And I also know I need to change that hour over to minutes. So that's why I have done this. Now I know if I cross out hours, cross out mils, what I have left is minutes. So I know I'm going to be getting the right answer, 800 minutes. I have an IV at 100 mils an hour, and it's been running for 1 hour and 45 minutes. How much fluid have I given in milliliters? So what I'm asking here is how many milliliters? Okay, well, here's what I know. I know that 100 mils go in over an hour. The time that I'm giving it over is 105 minutes because I've got 1 hour plus 45 minutes. So I've got 60 minutes plus 45 minutes equals 105 minutes. So I put that here. And then I know I need to convert this hour to minutes. And so that's what I do. I cross out the hours, cross out the minutes, and I get milliliters when I get to the end here. And I get 175 milliliters. There was a flash flood in Red Wing, and we've been given called into work for an orange alert. We get there and there are a lot of dehydrated people there. The pumps are all in use, and we've been given an order to deliver a maintenance IV fluid of normal saline at 150 mils an hour. We look at the bag and see that the drip factor is 10 drips per mil. How many drips per minute would you run this infusion at? So again, I start it by saying how many drips per minute, because I need to know how many drips per minute. Well, I know I've got 150 mils per hour. That's rate. That's rate. Okay. I need to convert hours. So I'm converting hours. I've got the minutes down here. And I need to convert mils to drips. Now that I can cross out the mils and cross out the hours, I know that I have drips per minute, which is what the question is asking. So 150 divided by 60 times 10, 25 drips per minute. The other thing you want to know about is when you look at a bag of saline and you might have 0.9% normal saline, or you might have 0.45% normal saline. What do these mean, right? Well, what this means is that per 100 mil, you have 0.9 grams of the sodium chloride per 100 mils. Okay, again, 0.45 grams per 100 mils. That's another thing that I wanted to make sure that we touched base on. Good luck and have fun.